That was, without a shadow of a doubt, beyond the Edmonton opening games of the season, beyond the feasting, the 10-goal game against the San Jose Sharks, this game tonight, Vancouver versus Toronto, was the biggest, baddest, most insane barn burner of a game that we have seen out of this team this entire year. And it's not because it was the perfect game. Oh no, it definitely wasn't. The Canucks had their mistakes. The Canucks had their bad moments. They let the Leafs get back into it. But from an entertainment point of view, my goodness, was this a fun game. And it was filled with everything you want out of great entertainment, isn't it? Highs and lows, the gives and the takes, the elation followed by the misery and the dread, the hope and the desperation. Everything was all there as Vancouver beats the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-4 in Vancouver on this 4 p.m. start time game in Rogers Arena. They've got the commentators for Toronto. They've got the early start time. They've got Leafs fans in the building. This is usually a spectacle. Whenever the Leafs are in town, it's always a big deal. And tonight was no other night. Now, this, of course, had a lot more of an expectation attached to it than any of the other Leafs and Canucks games of this season, even going back into the past few years. Because, with both of these teams wanting to make a statement against the other, this was going to be it. And before we get underway with our analysis and just recapping everything that happened, I wanted to give my big shout-outs and thanks to JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, and Quinn Hughes. Big shout-out to Dakota Joshua, too, for getting me some hits in fantasy, because, man, I was in doubt of whether or not I was going to win my matchup, but after tonight's showcase, multiple power play goals, multiple power play assists, a whole bunch of hits and blocks from these guys, and I'm back on top. So thank you. Mwah. Chef's kiss to the Canucks guys. And of course, I checked out the Leafs player discussions and everybody's flaming Martin Jones. But either way, this game was a huge barn burner because right off the top, you had the Vancouver Canucks just explode with offensive pressure and intense control. They were just cycling it around in the Toronto Maple Leafs zone. The Leafs couldn't catch a break. Every attempt to clear was just picked off by a Canucks defenseman at the Leafs blue line and sent back in through the ringer to get some more scoring opportunities. As a result, you had yourselves the first goal of the game. Quinn Hughes throws it on goal, and there's a big scrum right in front. The rebound is bouncing up around there. There's like 3 or 4 players in the slot, and it's Nils Hoglander who just bats it on the backhand right by Martin Jones. Definitely not the easiest goal to give up to open up the game, but still, the Maple Leafs were hemmed in their zone for quite a while. That was a shift where you could just smell a goal was coming, and Vancouver, as they've done for most of the year, gets on the board first. Give it a few more minutes after that, and the Toronto Maple Leafs end up suffering again. They succumb once more to the Nils Hoglander train, as you had yourselves a really nice play in the corner where Conor Garland takes the hit to facilitate the puck. He gets taken down there by McCabe. The puck gets sent over to Nils Åman, who is still there in that corner, and Åman, with a nice little tap, is able to just settle the puck down for the same Nils Hoglander, who ends up bobbling the puck on the half-boards. He cuts wide into the face-off circle and just rips a shot from a tight angle. He goes short side up over Martin Jones' shoulder, and it's 2-0 Vancouver 6 minutes into the game. At this point, everybody's freaking out about Martin Jones because, hey, he just let in a goal that probably wasn't his fault in the first Hoglander goal, and then the other one, man, you have to make that save. Jones, buddy, you can't be letting in shots from that far out on the side. Beat you short side over the shoulder. But hey, I'm not complaining. The Canucks are up 2-0. Momentum then shifts a little bit as Nikita Zadorov takes a penalty on Nyes. However, the Canucks were able to kill this one confidently. Bertuzzi then gets robbed by Thatcher Demko point blank right after the power play ends. That was probably the best chance for Toronto up to that point in the game. The Canucks, though, as the period goes on, they just start bullying the Leafs with big hits. Tyler Myers hits Yarncrow into the Canucks bench, there are a few other plays along the boards, and eventually it all pays off, as Conor Garland scores, taking advantage of a bad Leafs bounce in their zone. The rush was brought into the Leafs territory, and eventually it deflects down low. Teddy Bluger is there, who throws it out in front for Garland, who snipes in on Martin Jones. Jones out of position on that play because he committed too far to the puck going down low. William Nylander was also caught in the crease in this one. He didn't even try to block the shot, even though he was right there. His back check was really nothing special. That's not what you want to see out of your new 11-point-something million player. Eventually, the first period ends, though, with a score of 3-0, and this is where we start to see the shift, because my goodness, the ups and downs, the highs and lows, the peaks and valleys, they continued in this second period. Because 5 minutes into the second period, it's William Nylander, who just kind of throws it on goal from long range, and it gets by everybody. It goes in. That's definitely not a goal that Thatcher Demko is used to allowing, but after looking at the replay, it's quite apparent that Tyler Myers was actually the screen on that one. William Nylander, such a smart player, to just throw it on net when the Canucks goalie can't see it. Give it a few minutes after that, and it's Jake McCabe who scores afterwards. Mitch Marner with a great play in front. He does a nice spin pass to go back door, and just 2.5 minutes after the 3-1 goal, it's now 3-2. And then, just another minute after that, it's William Nylander, once more, coming down on the rush. He takes a shot, easy floater. Nope, it goes in. It's now a tie game, 3-3. And this was yet another goal where William Nylander takes advantage of the Canucks defenseman in front, as Nylander's shot kind of tips off the stick of Carson Soucy. It's a really unlucky bounce, but it's one that, based off of the clear shot and vision that Thatcher Demko had when looking at this puck, it's a very uncharacteristic goal for Demko to let in, even with the deflection. As William Nylander goes out there and ties the game, he even looks surprised that he was able to get this goal. Now, after this, you had Rick Tocchet call the timeout. The Canucks were tied up 3-3, all the momentum was on Toronto's stick, and shortly after, they actually capitalized on it a bit. The Leafs scored, but it was waved off because Tyler Bertuzzi kicked the puck into the net with his knee while he was down on his knees in the crease. Pretty dire moment for the Vancouver Canucks, especially since the momentum was going back in Toronto's favor. On this disallowed Bertuzzi goal, it was Filip Hronek who gets a penalty for cross-checking. Riley and Hughes also got penalties on the same play, and the ensuing result was a 5-on-4 Leafs power play for 2 minutes. The Canucks killed it off, though, with their neutral zone play, and were not really able to give the Leafs too many opportunities. At this point, though, with about 5 minutes to go in the second, you're starting to see the frustration really seep in. Quinn Hughes is on the bench slamming his stick. We've never seen him upset like that ever. And there are some changes to the lines, too. Pettersson was playing with Garland and Joshua for a bit, and that actually pays off, because Conor Garland ends up getting a goal with 1 minute left to make it 4-3. It's an odd play. Quinn Hughes throws it on goal, it deflects into the corner, Garland picks it up and rushes to the front of the net. He takes a shot, it gets blocked, he takes another shot, and that one goes over the glove of Martin Jones. It is a 4-3 game at the end of the second period, and the Vancouver Canucks, they just have to hold on 20 more minutes. The third period was interesting. Nikita Zadorov was somebody who stood out to me off the hop. He had a few really big hits and moments where he had to stand his ground, so that was good confidence-boosting material for the Canucks. And eventually, you get even more confidence as Andrei Kuzmenko ends up drawing a tripping penalty on TJ Brodie. The Canucks, it's their first power play of the game, and they end up giving a shorthanded goal to Mitch Marner. Oh my goodness, it's Elias Pettersson trying to center it out for Besser, but the pass gets completely picked off. Marner comes in all alone. He goes over the glove of Demko. That is not a great goal to see from this Canucks power play that has been usually very deadly. So twice in this game, the Maple Leafs come back to tie everything up, but in true Toronto Maple Leafs fashion, they blow it, because Brock Besser gets cross-checked by Max Domi. Power play for Vancouver. It's Quinn Hughes who throws it on goal, and it's deflected off the skate of Miller and in, and then Mark Giordano gets another penalty afterwards for cross-checking in front on Ilya Mikheyev, and the Canucks go back to the power play. It's Hughes to Miller in front for Pettersson, who tips it in. Very similar goal. It's the same goal, honestly. Like, the first one, Miller from Hughes and Petey, and then the next one, Petey from Miller and Hughes. Exactly the same play, but it works twice in a row off of 2 cross-checking penalties the Maple Leafs take on themselves. 6-4 is the score, and that remains up until the end of the game. There were a few extra penalties that were taken. Hronek high-sticked Pontus Holmberg. Canucks were able to kill that one off, and then you had yourselves Quinn Hughes at the end of the game taking a penalty on John Tavares, but the Leafs could not capitalize capitalize. There was a lot of feisty stuff at the end of this game too, with Tyler Myers and Morgan Rielly. Myers with a big cross-check as well. But eventually, the game ended off 6-on-3 for Toronto, but they could not finish things up. The Canucks squeak out of this one. 6-4 is the final score. And I, like many other Vancouverites, are just thanking our lucky stars we were able to witness this, because that was a crazy freaking game. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Canucks beating the Leafs 6-4 in Rogers Arena. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.